Where do you go when the sun sets on a long and cruel day on the streets? Where do you hide when the thunder roars and the lightning strikes? What do you do when you are chilled to the bone by the wet and the cold?
That was my life for 12 years. And what could have killed me on the street happened to be the very thing that brought me out of the street. And I'm talking about this. For every homeless street children or young adult you see, they bear a scar. It could be physical or invisible scar. Allow me to talk to you about Theo, a young boy who ran away from his home, ended up on the street. He was picked up by police, sent to jail for 2 years without any cause. Why in prison? Theo was abused by older inmates. When Theo came out of the prison, he continued to abuse other street children. Till today, Theo bear the scar. How about Nifemi, a 12-year-old girl who ran away from her abusive home? Her first night on the street, she was raped. Perhaps that is where Nifemi contracted the HIV. Up to today, Nifemi bear the scar. I won't forget to talk about Wasiu, a small boy who could not feed himself. Only way to find something to eat is to scavenge waste food from dustbin. Wasiu was diagnosed of hepatitis. He lived with a scar up to today. Maybe I'll take you through my own story. I was not always on the streets. I was born into a family of 26 siblings. My father, who has 4 wives, could not even cater for his own wife, talk less of the children. My mother and my father separated at a point for their own personal reasons, leaving me and my younger brother to cater for ourselves. Hunger was the deal of the day. There was nothing to eat. One day, I saw some children in my area going and scavenging, so I followed them. On my coming back that very day, I have money in my pockets, food in my tummy. I was so happy. It was as if the next day should come so we can go and scavenge. I follow them every day. We go in and come back. Until this particular day, I could not come back. That was my first night on the street. It was a sharp pain that I received on my back that woke me. That was the language, which means give us money. Which money? It is called rent money. I have no money to pay them. I pleaded for them to give me another day. They beat me almost to death, but they give me 1 more chance to pay that money. When the day break, the only way for me to raise this money is to steal. So I waited for an old man who was a beggar. On his way going home in the evening, I followed him. And while he was going, I grabbed everything he made that day. I was able to go back to the street, settle everybody, pay my rent. I became the king of the street that very night. That was the day the street welcomed me, and that was the beginning of 12 years on the street. But I must say, I am not proud of what I did to that old man. The life of the streets is about surviving. You need to fight to live for another day. So I formed my gang, and gradually I become the leader of my gang. But this particular fight changed everything. We went for this fight, and then in the course of fighting, it's as if I was the only one who came for this fighting. They all descended on me. Knife, cutlass, bottle. That was where I sustained this scar you just saw. I was left there to die. When a good man found me, and he offered me opportunity to go to his home with him. In 12 years, I slept on a bed with foam. In 12 years, somebody actually closed the door and he said to me, good night. In 12 years, somebody knocked at my door and said, food is ready. My life changed. I decided to live a new life. I wanted to be something different. I couldn't stay more than 6 months with him because he himself does not have the financial capacity to help me. I left there to Lagos and I started riding Okada, which is called auto bicycle for commercial use. I was able to do this, send myself to school. Now today I have masters in counseling and I'm a trained cinematographer. But then something didn't leave me, and that was the need to save many other street children and young adults in Nigeria. I started by pitying them. Whenever I see them, I look at them, I feel pity. But suddenly I realized, will I ever want anyone to pity me? No way. No way. Because every homeless street children and young adults you see, they are survivors. There is a virtue that comes with this car I just showed you. And that is the virtue we saw that made us to find AKHIN. AKHIN is a platform where homeless street children and young adults can find, develop, and explore their talents. Our intervention is in 3 stages. At the first stage, we have what we call street football tournament. This will give every homeless street children and young adult opportunity to come together and play. There, we'll be able to pitch our project to them. 20 of them who show strongest willingness will be offered a 1-year scholarship. Then we move them to the second stage. At the second stage, our participants will be able to learn how to read, to write, basic mathematics, general knowledge, basic use of computer. But more than that, it is time to tell the story the way it is. You might have watched many documentaries of homelessness, of children or young adults, and many of these stories are produced by the homeless people who are victims of the circumstances. This time, they will tell their story by themselves, produce their story by themselves. On one hand, the society will be able to understand how it is to be homeless. What are the reasons why these participants of mine are ending up on the streets? And we will give opportunity to society to think and to do something about it by themselves. On the second hand, the participant himself will be able to develop skills in different life. I'm talking about skills that will make them to be able to develop budgets, planning projects, video editing, camera handling, script writing, animations, and many other skills that will come with it. Of course, we have another important part of this second stage, which we call AKHIN Green City. We'll be planting trees in police stations, public hospitals, and public schools. You wonder why those 3 places? Well, this is the reason. These are 3 major sectors that has deprived homeless street children and young adults so much. We have decided to respond in love. On the third stage, now it's time to go for internship. All our participants will be matched up with an existing organizations who are in media. And for those who are interested in pursuing their career in media, acting, video editing, handling of camera, we match them up with an existing organizations. But those who say, hey, I love what I did, I want something else, we will be with them to find another path for their life. Of course, at 22 years of age, I could not read or write, but I have masters today. So any one of them who say, I want to go back to school, we'll be right there with them to go back to school. Before I go, I have some AKHIN who have a message for you. Just watch.
I am AKHIN. I survived several injuries and abuse on the streets. I am unstoppable.
I am AKHIN. I am good at anything I put my mind to.
I am AKHIN. I was on the street for 6 years. I love to fix car. I would love to become an automobile engineer.
I am AKHIN. I spent 4 years on the street. Now, I am a filmmaker and I work with AKHIN's foundation.
I am AKHIN. We stop at nothing. We are AKHIN, too thick and thin. We are resilient. We are courageous. We are fearless and independent. That is who we are. Don't ever think less.
I'm proud to say I am AKHIN, and we are ready to tell our story to the world. Thank you.